What is happening, fishers? So, Andrew from Untraceable Fishing. I know most of you guys don't know me. You don't recognize me because I'm normally just the guy behind the camera. But I'm back. And I'm back with Matt from Noeby. It's always good to have you join us, and we can talk about your products. So before we get started on your very extensive range of lures and things, I wanted to touch back on something we spoke on a previous episode, which was your new website and how you are now incorporating this kind of registration of your product. You bought the product, you register it on the website, and that kind of gives you your 1-year warranty. Am I correct in saying
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, cool. So then we go one step further with Noeby here, guys, because this is something that I didn't even know, and I'm behind the scenes at Bilmoria, is that, these guys take such good care of clients that they, like Matt himself, lands up dealing directly with the public, where you kind of take away the middleman of the store. Because a lot of the time what happens is you'll get a product that'll come back to the store, that'll have to go to the supplier will send it back to the store will have to send it back to the customer, and it just becomes like an admin nightmare for pretty much everyone. But the way that you do it's really cool. Just kind of explain how you would handle, let's say, a warranty claim. Let's say my rod breaks.
Yep.
What happens?
So first thing is you would take it into Billy Moria, take it into the store, and then they would phone me, and then I'll say, cool, give me the client's details, I'll chat to them directly, and then we will I phone the client, and I try and find out why the product failed, what went on in this, and I try and paint a picture. For instance, what was the client doing, what was he fishing for, was this the right product, was he sold the correct setup for what he was doing? Because sometimes that's not the case and clients get sold. I'm not saying that happens at Billy Moria, but I'm just saying in general, sometimes a client will use the wrong product for style of fishing, and that can cause failures sometimes. And I just get to know the client, get to know the scenario, and then, for instance, let's say hypothetically it is a manufacturing defect, which doesn't actually happen a lot. It's very rare that manufacturing defects actually happen. Most of the time, when a rod is made out of the oven, when it gets baked, and it's just a naked blank, no guides, nothing, there'll be someone testing the blank and literally pulling. You can actually find it on Google. They're pulling the blank and trying to snap, pie sticking it or whatever, doing all sorts of things. The rod blank snapped, boom, gets chucked in the pile. We do the same thing. Once the rod's finished, lands, at our warehouse, we pull test the rod, we work through the rod, and we figure it out. So we normally know that, if a customer's bought a rod 6 months later, he's caught fish with it, but now the rod's broken, generally that's not, manufacturing warranty. But still, even if that's the case, once a client's bought that product, we don't want the client to feel like, geez, man, I spent some money, I bought a nice rod, it broke. It's not a great situation. So then we'll be like, cool, we will sell you your replacement part, whether it's for our reels or our rods, you can buy it directly from us. And we don't want the client to feel like he's got to basically buy a whole new rod just to get a tip section.
Yeah, so a rod is a difficult one. Because there are so many different scenarios, how a rod breaks, and I've been guilty of it too, and I'm sure a lot of the people that are watching this have been guilty of it. Is I remember one of the first rods I broke was an Assassin Sierra, which is top tier
rod.
Stuff.
Yeah,
but I had a very good shad on it. It was 80 centimeter shad, just shy of 80 centimeter shad, and got to the front and I high sticked it.
Yeah.
And the shad went and snapped.
Yeah, at the third guide normally at the tip.
And I got the fish in, but that is user error.
Yeah.
And again, the same thing happened to me with another Assassin rod. And the same thing happened. I high sticked a fish when it was right here in front of me. So it's user error a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But, you've got to kind of prove beyond reasonable doubt that, hey, listen, there is maybe a manufacturing issue, which can happen sometimes.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
It's happened to me on some of my personal rods where there have been manufacturing defects, which we have picked up because of feathering.
Feathering. Yeah, 100%.
So there was no actual proper clean break. There was actual feathering on the rod, and that was kind of a telltale sign of that.
Mm.
Hey, listen, it's actually a manufacturing defect, which
Yep.
is what it came down to.
Yeah.
So rods are quite a difficult one with warranty, but
Yeah.
your other products, I mean, you know, lures, you cover everything under.
So lures, it's difficult to do a 1-year warranty on the lure because I mean you could put it on and get taxed like immediately, or like a shark eats your lure, then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
But the lure, what do you do? But normally our products are mass produced. Not all the rods. We've got some like this new Voyager series of rods. Those are handcrafted rods, so that's not mass produced rods. But our lures, I mean, we supply all over, so many different continents, stock Noeby. And because of that, it's made in massive production. So you'll get 1 or 2 lures where when the person, the manufacturing lure decided to put the through wire, you put the through wire in slightly skew. Now the lure swim skew. That's quite a common thing on trolling lures, not just with us, but in general. So what we'll do then is if the client has an issue with the lure, he'll bring it back to the tackle store and be like, hey, this lure's not swimming nicely. Again, get in contact with me, chat to the client. If I find that, cool, this trolling lure is going right, or it's doing this, no matter what you do, change hooks, not doing anything, we swap it out.
I think that's really cool. So like, to put it into perspective, guys, not only are you buying a really good product at a really good price, you've also got reassurance that when you're purchasing a Noeby product that you are backed by guys like Matt at Noeby that are going to look after you from the time you purchase your rods, reels, accessories, terminal tackle, lures, you name it, right the way through that first year of kind of warranty and beyond, because I would assume that you want to look after your customer as best as you possibly can.
Yeah. We keep parts, like for instance we spoke about the Legend 6 rod, which is the predecessor of the Gainer, and we still have tips for that. I mean, we've got a few tips of that, knowing that the guys bought that rod was in production 2 years or so, and we still kept the tip sections further down the line. We don't want a customer to feel like, hey, this rod, I've had this rod for 5 years now, I love this rod, I want to find a tip section. Even that, I mean, there's a good chance that the factory themselves might still have it. So we'll try. And sometimes we've done it before. Just when we took Noeby on, it actually happened to us right in the beginning. As we were, evolving to what, the rods that we have now. There was an older rod that we sold. Client loved it. Unfortunately, it broke. And we couldn't give him a new tip section. They completely, it was discontinued. So we ended up giving him a form of a credit. Directly from us, we took responsibility and we gave him a similar version to that rod. And he was quite happy with that.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. But now let's get stuck into
lures.
I see
poppers specifically.
I see a bunch of poppers.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
So talk to us about poppers. So what I can say from Bulmoria's perspective is that this range is starting to take off. Poppers in general have taken off. Especially for the guys, Mozambique side, Angola, there's a lot of guys that are starting to make use of poppers. Essentially, it's that
explosion.
Pull through the water, that it makes, and
nothing beats it.
It attracts the fish, and it's the way you get to work the lure as well at the same time.
100%.
So tell us about your range, because I mean we can spend all night here with the amounts of color variations that you've got, but run us through your range in a nutshell.
So I think we'll start with the most innovative of the products. This just goes throughout some of our new lures, the crystal armor technology. And I think we're the only lure manufacturer in the world that I'm aware of that's using this technology, the crystal armor. And essentially it's a nano resin coating that gets sprayed over the whole lure before you fit the terminal. So before you put the split rings, put the hooks on, this lure gets covered. And that, helps prevent sun damage, helps with protection against, toothy predators, yakutas, things like that. And quite a unique product. And so far we've had very good feedback. I mean, some of the samples that I've been fishing still looks really good, and it's caught a good amount of fish. And so this little popper, it's 140 mils, 140 mils, 74 grams. I have to double check. And this is called the Gazda. We call it a mid-range popper. It's got like a medium-sized cup base. Makes a decent splash for the size. and a popper of the size is still good for land-based fishing. A lot of guys have taken this to Baboon Point, and I think there's another lodge, Casabella in Mozambique, where the guys have caught nice GTs. Land-based with this style of popper. So that's the guzzler, and then a very classic shape that everyone will know. I'll actually take it again, your crystal armor. And one thing we try and do with our lures in general, we try and rig the lure that you fish it out the box. Like we've either fine-tuned it to a certain extent, or we've put proper terminals on, so you got confidence in your product. I'll literally, when we get a new product like this, I'll take it out the box, tie it on, I'll fish it as and see what it does. And we did that with this. We caught some last season. We caught some really nice yellowfin tuna down in the Cape on some of them, and so that you can actually see the finish. So you've got that internal plastic rib structure inside the lure, which is very, very nice. Added strength. Again, you got the crystal armor. I mean, hooks like that. You can see that.
And they look insane.
Not really doing. And then you've got BKKs as well.
That's the exact question I was just about to ask you. Like, what hooks are you using? So, I mean, you're using BKK. You are using like pretty much top tier,
high end. Yeah, it's either most of our products either BKK or it's a VMC.
I mean,
yeah.
Come on, you're pretty much at the top of the pops there when it comes to your hook choice. So, yeah, you know that you're buying not only a good quality product, and guys, the nice thing about all Noeby lures is that they are literally a fraction of the price of their competitors. Yeah. Their competitors, should I say?
Yeah.
The Guzzler is a very cool name. Another cool name that I really enjoy comes from Nomad. It's the Chug Norris.
The Chug Norris. That's a clever one.
I really
the Aussie boys are good with their names.
I love that name, but I mean, there you're paying, just under 1,000 rand for a lure.
Expensive.
I mean, what are we looking at here? Roughly.
I think it's about so with BKKs and everything, you're looking at about $350. I think somewhere around there.
Yeah. So that's off the cuff. Don't quote us, guys, but instead of spending 1,000 rand, you can get 3 with BKK hooks.
Yeah.
Nomads, same story. BKK hooks. You're getting the same hooks.
Yeah.
You're getting a brilliant looking lure that will work.
Yep.
And you can buy 3 of them for the price of 1.
Literally. Yeah.
So yeah, like definitely have a look at the Nomad range, guys. Like the range is super expansive. I don't even think we cover enough of what we even should on the Bull Warrior website. Like I think we actually need to like go back to the drawing board with Noeby, because there's like so much that we actually still need to add, because the range has just expanded and got so much bigger. But what else can you highlight here that stands out for you?
Other than the blooper, so what's actually cool is we mentioned on where we've come, as a company versus where we started. So you'll see this design everywhere. There's a CID version. So that's the old box, and you can actually see the difference in the product. So this is the older version of the popper, very similar to this, but another new product that we just about to launch is the Dio popper, and it's somewhat of like a pencil popper, And cup face is very important on a popper. So if you talk about the technical specs of popping, we call it popping. Cup face is quite important when you're fishing heavy chop. Fishing offshore, going for tuna, you want something with a big cup face that calls the fish, that's able to stay in the water, that's well balanced. For instance, like this popper, the Goliath poppers, I'll take on a very, very famous popper, the Hulker Rooster. And this is a very similar popper, but the weighting is a bit different. And the actual, if you look at it closely, the not the length, but the girth of the popper is a bit different. And we did that specifically to try and keep the popper in the water as long as possible when you're doing those big sweeps, big aggressive pops. You don't want that popper to jump out of the water and so on. So cup base is important, where the Dio, so it's a little, smaller cup base, a bit more streamlined, nice for casting, and, popping is quite a intricate type of style of fishing, and sometimes the fish zones in on a more of a bubble trail, different erratic movements, and that's when the smaller cup face works really well. When it's working quickly, it's still splashing, you still want to splash, but it's working through the water a lot differently, and sometimes that works even better. And then you've got a popper like the submerger popper, and it's called the submerger popper because it's a diving popper.
Diving popper. Okay.
Yeah, which is quite cool. So this is actually very popular in KZN, Mozambique. Dorado like this thing for some reason.
Okay.
And again, long sweeps, and what happens is as the popper grips the water, goes under, then pops back up again.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like a flying fish would, as it exits the water and goes back again. Similar type of scenario. And the submerger poppers, it's quite a cool little popper, and that goes all the way from the 175, 150 to my favorite 100 mil. I love using this little 100 mil popper for. I like fishing Richards Bay when I go on these trips. Seeing all the clients.
Yes.
When I go to Richards Bay, there's a famous spot called the train bridge. It's like a metal train bridge, and one session there, I caught pick handle barracuda, skipjack, and a little kingy. And that just shows you popping, you don't know what you're going to catch with a popper, Yeah,
you don't.
It's amazing. It's just a big explosion. It's always super exciting. And this little diving popper worked really, really well. And ever since then, I've been loving this thing, even for shad.
Yeah, and obviously, you got such a wide assortment of colors and choices. Yeah. But I mean, okay, so in terms of lures now, what would be, let's say, your top selling colors, because that's always an interesting debate when it comes to anglers.
So colors, the most popular selling is always the pink in general.
Yeah,
guys love the pink, and whether there's science involved or not, it's just the most effective color. And it could be whether the guys are fishing it more, and the more you fish the product, the more people fishing the product, the more it's obviously going to work. The chances are better. But generally what you want to do is, when you're looking, your conditions, overcast, whether it's bright, sometimes match the hatch, the fusilier color, if there's fusilier bait fish around, things like that, that's quite a good color. Your translucents, also quite good. And your naturals, it's always nice, like a Dorado type of color.
Yeah, so like one thing that we've noticed is, so like pink will be popular from paddle tails right the way through to
diving lures.
You name it. Yeah. Pink for some reason, chartreuse another.
Yeah.
And then
redhead.
What you've just picked up was the redhead, and that was one that I was gonna say. Like when it comes to lure choice, like you know what, 90% of people have a redhead in their arsenal.
Yeah.
Be it a clone lure, be it a Noeby, be it a CRD,
Rapala, the redheads there.
You name it, you've got a redhead, and all the companies do it because it works. It's effective.
It's an effective color, Contrast, you got a red and a white. It's a big contrast, and contrast is something to really think about, when selecting colors, like we've mentioned, your weather conditions, overcast, bright conditions, and redhead is one of those lures where it works in pretty much most conditions. It's always, for some reason, I'm not personally a fan of the redhead. I don't know why. I've just never been, but I use it because it works.
It works, yeah. It works. So is there anything else that you want to highlight before we...
walking style baits. We've got 3 versions of a walking style. The most recent one that we just produced is the fish charmer. And we call it the fish charmer.
I really like that one.
Yeah, the blacks. I love using black top waters.
That black looks...
black.
And it's a matte finish, guys. It looks so good.
Yeah, the blacks. It's a good looking color, and as a top water bait, you don't see it often for some reason. But overseas market, you see a lot of global. You see a lot of black top waters, and there's a reason for it. It's such a strong contrast of color, and overcast conditions, dark water, for some reason that black is it's good. I've caught so many good fish on the black. But that's the same, now you got the bones, completely different, and bones are very good color for Zara Spook. They were one of the first guys to come up with the bone color. Awesome bait. That's still one of the best colors for top water, whether it's in the States fishing for striped bass, or for the bluefish, they call it the shad.
Yes.
And so walking baits, again, we spoke about cup base and presentation to a fish, where A walking bait is more subtle. It stays in the strike zone a lot longer. And when you're fishing high pressured waters, having something like a walking bait is very effective. When fish are, they get a little bit skittish. Things are moving around, they're not settled. You throw a walking bait constantly around them, and it's just subtly moving around them, and it's super, super deadly. Fish like your grunter, the skitterview with the grunter is one of the more effective topwater baits. And we've got something quite similar to the skitterview. We modeled it on a little Zara spook.
And I hear you got some rattles in there.
The rattles, yeah, extra attraction. The noise, also another factor. Yeah, that's pretty much it on the topwaters, I'd say.
That's, you know what, you guys have got such a comprehensive range, and I think you pretty much covered like all the basics when it comes to like your topwater fishing. But yeah, you know what, guys, check out the Noeby lures. Like I said, cost effective, brilliant quality, backed by Matt and the team, and you guys will not be sorry fishing with any Noeby products. Anyway, guys, from Andrew from Untraceable and Matt from Noeby, we'll see you in the next episode.
Cheers.